Okay. Hey, everybody. All right. For those of you that are here with us tonight, we're going to go over the rank-specific trainings that were at convention. So Phaedra will be going over the silver training, and then we'll have Noelle go over the gold, senior gold training, and then we'll have Kelly Ione and Jessica Jackson go over the ruby, senior ruby training, and then I will go over the emerald training. We'll try to keep everybody, fairly short, 5-6 minutes. Per thing, your main bullet points, that your main takeaways that you want to communicate to the rest of your team, things you're excited about, things you took away from it, all of that, and what you thought about your trainers. I love hearing about all the different trainers and their styles of training, because I've always had somebody different in my leadership training at corporate and my convention sessions, in my leadership sessions, all that. I've always had somebody different, and it's been really fun. So I'm excited to hear first from Phaedra about the silver training and how that went. So I'll let her start. 1 second. Let me unmute you. Are you unmuted? Hello? Are you? No. Okay. That won't let me unmute you. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Sorry, guys. I can make you a host. Put on hold. No. Unmute. Can you tap your unmute button? I think I hear you now.
Yeah, I feel like I just did something, but now I can't see myself.
Okay.
So.
Okay, it's okay. I hear you. Okay, go.
Okay. All right, perfect. So you're just gonna have to forgive me. I'm a newbie. Okay, so I was part of the Silver Ambassador training, and just so everyone knows, my name is Phaedra, and I'm not a just Silver Ambassador. I'm a Silver Ambassador. So I'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. But I know we don't have a lot of time, so I'm just gonna dive right in. So for the Silver Ambassador training, we had 3 different diamonds who spoke to us. The first one was Jennifer Leith. And I would kind of describe her, I'd never heard her speak before, as kind of the heart of Plexus. She was very passionate about just, the heart and what that looks like in our business. And one of the first things she mentioned when she walked on stage was just to leave our mind trash at the door. When she walked in, one of the first things she said is, she's like, I'm probably talking to a crowd who doesn't even want to be in this room right now, but I need you to just drop that and let it go. And what she was talking about is most, I would say, if not all of the people in that room had goals to be farther than we were. I really wanted to go to convention as gold, and that didn't happen. And at first it was really hard walking into a room for Silver Ambassadors, but honestly, after that, convention training, my perspective on it definitely changed. So she talks about leaving mind trash at the door, and a big thing that she was working on is working on pattern of thought. So as Silver Ambassadors, whether you have 3 people on your team or up to 20, you're definitely a new leader, which is fine, but this is such a crucial time to kind of build your patterns. So what she was talking about is our mind trenches. So if you're trying to lead positively towards your team, but every day you have negative self-talk, like, oh, I'm never going to get to gold, or I'm not good at leading my team, or I'm terrible at getting subscriptions back on, whatever that may be, if you're not thinking positively about yourself, that's not going to carry over to your team. So she really honed in on that and how important it's been in her business and just in life in general. So she was just saying, any decision you make in your business, like, you're setting your path now, so make it with intentionality and just be really positive, whether that's affirmations or just how you speak to yourself and how you speak to others. She mentioned that don't put off until tomorrow what you can do today. So what she was saying with that is, especially at the beginning, but I do think it kind of goes up through all the ranks, it's easy to kind of focus on the next rank, so to speak, without just working on where you are today. So thinking about being gold or, whatever next rank isn't going to get you there. What gets you there is what you do in the moment at the stage you are at. So for me, thinking about being gold, if I'm not doing things that progress me in silver, I'm never going to get there. So she really talked about just like putting your head down, working where you are, thinking positively, and the results will come. So that I thought was really good. One thing she mentioned as well to us in the room at convention, but I do think it goes out to everyone, is that we've put a lot on the line to be silver. Again, it's not just silver. You took the step to sign up. That's step 1. And then you maybe added 1 or 2 ambassadors. Then you're a senior ambassador. Then you got your 3rd and you turned silver. And with silver, you could be anywhere from 3 to 20. So there's such a range of what's going on, but you're not just silver. You've taken the leap and you've put a lot on the line to be here with Plexus. So keep that in mind. She mentioned too, again, with the positive mindset, it's not a matter of if you're going to hit your next rank, it's a matter of when. And part of that is how you interact with people and how you love on them. Next Diamond Ambassador was Brook Hemingway. She's a Diamond Ambassador and also Sapphire Reentry. Oh, sorry. So what that means is, yeah, she's basically gone all the way through the ranks and then re-entered and pretty much gone all the way again. So where Jennifer Leith was a lot about heart and what that looks like, Brook was much more about, you know, simple, easy tasks that you can do in the moment. So I really appreciated that from just a practical standpoint. Her first thing she talked about more on the heart side of things was establishing your why. She said, you know, it's easy to quit, especially when you haven't invested too much. But she's like, if your why is bigger than your reason to quit, then there's no reason that you're not going to Diamond. So she said, establish early on what reasons you have to be invested in this, and also make sure you get that from your team right from the beginning, so that even during detox, you can, you know, reach out to them again and be like, remember, like, this is why you're in this, whether it's for your kids, yourself, family, whatever your reason, establish your why and make sure you've established your team's why and you have that written down on paper. So that I really loved. Sorry, flipping the page here. She really talked about no excuses as well, and I think we can all fall prey to this, but it's so easy to have that excuse, whether, like, for me it could be working full time, for someone else it could be kids, for someone else it could be health issues that are so debilitating that it's hard to spend time. She just said find those minutes and make them work. And one of my favorite things she talked about was the 3-6-9-12, which I know there are graphics everywhere about this, but this was kind of the first time it was explained to me. And so basically 3 minutes of whether that's like devotional, affirmations, positive self-talk, reading, and then you do 6 minutes of new connections. So like reaching out, friending, kind of building your network, and then 9 minutes of shoot, I'm going to mess up the order, but it's either follow-ups or reach outs, and then 12 minutes of the other. So that's 30 minutes. And she said, it's hard to find someone who can't devote 30 minutes for pursuing what they know is going to change their forever. So that I really appreciated. And I think that's an easy way, especially at Silver, but a good habit no matter what, to just kind of establish and build on. Again, going to her practical side, she talked about messaging basics, keep it simple. For example, say you suddenly notice that someone's subscription's off. She's like, don't wait, reach out immediately and just, you know, get them back on, or at least show that you've noticed, which also shows that you're a committed leader who's on top of your business. When you sign ambassadors, she mentioned, ask them right away, who do you know who struggles with blank? Whether that's, you know, a certain health issue, stuff like that. She's like, she's signed so many people from people who aren't even sure they're going to work the business by just asking them who they know that needs Plexus as well. So she said she's got her duplication down right from the beginning with that. Yeah, so that was kind of Brook's concept. The last Diamond Ambassador we heard from was Jen Hawkins. She's a Diamond as well. And she was so passionate. It was amazing. She actually prayed over everyone in the room and also anyone who wasn't at convention, just asking for favor over our businesses. And it was just really incredible to be a part of that. But she was just a powerhouse. She talked about, you got to do it scared. If you really want to go somewhere, you've got to do it scared. It was mentioned, you know, act first, feel motivated later. And that really hit me, because I think sometimes, you know, we can find all the steps to kind of get to the next step, but we're not actually acting. So she was really about the action. Again, she talked about why. She said about setting goals. And if you don't get that goal, don't quit the goal, just reevaluate your timeline, which is important. Last thing I'll touch on for her, because I want to make sure I'm not going too long here, is she talked about putting people in the right bucket, which honestly is one of the biggest things I took away from convention from a practical standpoint. So with that being said, people can either be customers or ambassadors. And she said right away, ask for commitment from your ambassadors. I think especially at Silver, but really any rank, it's so easy to kind of just want those points. But she was saying, if someone has said they're absolutely not going to share the business and, you know, they're not really going to get that much PV, sign them up as a customer. That doesn't mean that they can't become an ambassador, but it's just setting them up for success. And it's going to require less time for you checking in on white lines who are just never going to get there. And then for ambassadors, she said, ask for the commitment, ask for 60 days, ask them if they're even, you know, considering sharing, and take it from there. So that's kind of 3 hours and however many minutes this was. But if I could just leave you with a personal thing, you can only fail if you quit. So I would just say, honestly, like from the bottom of my heart, make sure you know your why and know that you're so supported by this team and that anything is possible. So from silver to gold. Thanks, everyone. And
Thanks so much for that, Phaedra. That was awesome. I think it was all really good. And you know what? I actually love what Brook Hemingway, sorry, I was trying to remember who said that. Brook Hemingway said about when you maybe see that like someone's subscription is off or something like that. If you notice someone, like reach out to them right away. I mean, obviously it's important to reach out to them about their subscription, but I love that you said it shows that you're a committed leader. You're in tune to what they're doing. Like you're watching, hey, I want you to be successful. I want you to hit your goals, all that. And you can remind them of that. I thought that was really cool. I like that angle of it. That was great. Yay, thanks. So next is going to be Noelle with our senior gold training. So I will unmute you and go ahead.
Hi, guys. Okay, so first I want to just put a plug in what Phaedra said about the 36912. I love that. Kelly and I both have been adding that to our business, and we're going to be doing a power hour next Thursday where we're going to be doing that. So if you want to join us in that, then that's a great opportunity to do some small things to work your business in big ways. But at convention, it was my first convention this year. And I was just blown away by it. It was awesome. I'm sure most of you have heard that leaders are born and created at conventions. It is 100% true because that is where your mindset is taken to the next level. So the three things that all of the diamonds talked about in every single different rank group would be mindset, business, and team, and this legacy part behind it, because that was kind of what convention was all about. But then it's taken from a different spin from each diamond, and then also towards the rank that you're in. So with gold and senior gold, Rhonda Shaw was our first diamond who talked, and she talked on mindset. And I'm not going to go into too much about what she said, but the few points that she really hit home with was this idea that everybody struggles on their way to success. Everybody, which was really great to hear, because I've kind of been in this season of struggling and watching my business kind of just grow but not grow and go up and down. And so it was really encouraging me to hear that I was not alone in those struggles, right? And that in that, it's really our having a healthy mindset. That's our choice and how we respond to the struggles that we have. So she really talked this idea of affirmations versus affirmations. So I don't know if many of you have heard any teachings on that. I think the guy's Noah St. James, he writes, or St. John's, he writes a book about it. Basically this idea that affirmations are saying something like, in my case, I want to be Ruby. But affirmations would be something like, how will I be Ruby this month? So it really makes your mind ask those questions instead of just creating a statement. So you actually have to put reasons behind why you're going to be a certain thing or why you feel a certain way. And really you can use that kind of in all aspects of life. It doesn't really even have to be just for your business. So I want to challenge you guys, number one, if you weren't at convention and you weren't in my talk, which none of you guys were, to once you get off of this Zoom call tonight, write down 2 affirmations for this next month and how you're just going to really work on those things and speak those into yourself every single morning. Ask yourself that question. The main takeaway I took was the middle diamond talking, and that was Melissa Eichenhorst. And I'm sure many of you guys have seen her video training. She does a lot of trainings, and she just like hit it home. Like she gave you the tough love that I needed to hear, that I think everybody in the room needed to hear. She asked a question, and she made us all raise our hands. She said, how many of you are working your business like you're going to get to the next level? And it was quite interesting to see the amount of hands actually raised. It was not very many. There was only a few hands up. And I think if people had had the strength to say they were working their business to the next level, they probably actually are working their business to the next level. So I thought that was really cool. She said you have to be 100% all in committed, that you need to be committed and consistent. And really that's what this business is about. Like, you want to work part-time, that's fine. You can work part-time, but you need to be putting in the smart work. So there's this idea of working smarter, not harder, which really hit home to me, because I know while being a stay-at-home mom, I do have a lot of time, but I don't have a lot of time at the same time. And a lot of you have full-time jobs. So how are you working your business smarter? That's just a question. You should ask yourself that. How are you working your business smarter? A couple ways you can work your business smarter. She gave really practical tools. So I already talked to my level ones about this. I printed out my entire Facebook friends list. It's 86 pages. And as you guys can see, I've already gone through and color coded half of it. It's halfway done, and have a little code here. That was Melissa Eichenhorst said that. She pulled it out. She had it in her backpack and said, like, this is what I'm doing to work smarter. So she printed that out, and she said, I was blown away how I thought my warm market was tapped out. It is not tapped out. And I was like, yeah, whatever. You know, I don't know about that. And I have gone through half my list so far, and green is for people who I need to reach out to, and every page is like half green. I'm like, I thought I reached out to those people, but no, there's so many greens on there. So that's a great way you can practically work your business smarter. Another great way that she talked about is this right here, the 64 list. For those of you that don't know what it is a 64 contacts list where you have 20 people who need the business, 20 people who need the products, 20 people who would rock the business even if they don't need the products, and then 4 people you have influence over. This is available to you in your back office. So after the Zoom call, if you're not in Christine's training this week, go print it off and fill it out. That's one of the first things you want to get started, even if you're not even a silver. I would say if you're wanting to shoot for that silver rank, that is a very easy tool to get you started. Let's see here. The other thing she said was that you need to do your IPAs daily. There's also an IPA sheet in your back office. If you don't understand what IPA is, it's income producing activity. So it's basically what you're doing to work your business every day. So if you go under your back office, under your resources, I think it's library resources, there will be, that's where your 64 list is. That's where the IPA sheet is. You can print those off and you can fill those out. See here. So the one other question she gave us was, does your work ethic match your goals? And I thought this was really big, because we all want to be emerald, we all want to be diamond, but are we putting in the work to get there? Because, I mean, if you're just starting out, I'll tell you guys this is probably the hardest business that you'll ever do. It's not impossible. It's the most fun business you'll ever do, but it's going to be hard. You can't just get to the next rank by not doing anything. And I felt like they were so real and raw about that at convention. Like, you know that the women that are at the top of this company are there because they worked hard for it. Some of them got really lucky with signing really awesome people right from the beginning, but you know, they still had to work into training their teams and bringing back their white lines and putting in all the extra work that comes with that. Then our third diamond that spoke was Julie Carty. How do I say that? Is it Carty?
Julia Carty, yeah.
Julia Carty, okay. And so she talked about this idea of legacy team. And she said that ultimately it all starts with you. You have to be your own rock star. That if you want your team to do anything, they need to watch you do it first. That more is caught than taught, and your team is always watching you. that you don't need to focus on the minimum because then you'll miss out on the maximum. But you need to have and practice good sponsoring habits because you never know who's going to be that next diamond on your team. You need to be a good listener and ask good questions. And then you also need to teach your team the importance of goal setting and tracking. So if you haven't started goal setting on a monthly basis, I want to challenge you guys to get with your sponsor and give them your goals for the month so you can be held accountable to what those goals are each month. And then also she talked about this idea of creating a dream board, which we all kind of know, like really putting it out right in front of you so you can see what those dreams are, what your why is, but also telling your team as well what that is, so that they can have something to work towards as well. And then kind of the last thing she talked about was this I do, we do, you do strategy. So basically when you're trying to get people to that next level, so you're a gold, you're at the point where you're trying to now build up silvers on your team, you're gonna use that strategy to show your people how to do it. So it's an I do. So for example, I post effectively on Facebook. The we do, you do a posting challenge with your group. You could even do it word for word. They can post the same exact thing you're posting, and then you do it. Then you challenge them to go out and do a week of posting. So those are just easy ways that you can start challenging your team and start building your team up to get them to silver. And then just, sorry guys, the one last thing I'm going to talk about is she talked about this idea of kind of getting to the next step, and a practical way of doing that was taking your points in the back office and or your points from last month and adding 20% to your points, and that's where you want to be for the next month. So that's kind of like the goal that you should shoot for every single month. So let's say you finish the month with 10 points last month, and then you're going to times that by 20%. I think that just gives you one more ambassador. Am I right or am I wrong? Where are my math people at? Then your next month's points would be 15, or is it 20? Whatever. Anyways, that's how you do the math. So for example, for me, if I were to take my points for last month, I finished the month at 379 points. I want to add 20% to that, which is 76 points. So I want to shoot to finish the month this month at 455 points. Though I want to go Ruby this month, which is my big scary goal. So instead of saying that
she's gonna do it, you guys, she's gonna do it.
Instead of saying I'm going to add 20%, I'm actually going myself to hit 40%. So that's my huge goal. It may seem totally impossible at this point, but that would put me over and above. So for those number of people out there, it's really great to see that you can actually have a visual of like, okay, I know I need to shoot for this each month. That's all I have. Convention was awesome. If you didn't go this year, I better see you there next year.
No kidding. It's awesome. Convention's like life-changing. That was good training. That was full of good stuff. I like that. Lots of practical things. That was good. Thanks, Noelle. And next will be Kelly and Jessica. I'm not sure who's going first.
I'm going to go first.
You can go first? Okay. So they're doing the Ruby, senior Ruby. So I guess, Jess, when you're done, just pass it off to Kelly. And yeah, I'm excited to hear you guys' training, because when I talked to you guys afterward, you said, you had Emily Gibson, I think was in your group. She said she gave you a lot of practical things you can work on or something. Excuse me. So I'm excited to hear about that. Anyway, go ahead.
All right. I am going to first talk about our first speaker, and then Kelly's going to talk about the other two speakers, Emily Gibson and Rosalind Payne. So Payne, I think that's how you say it. So Helen McFadden, so everybody had like the same core topics that they were supposed to talk about. So piggybacking off of what Noelle had said on AF formations, we did talk about quite a bit about what those are, how to do them, what the difference between affirmation and AF formation was. A little thing that she did that I really liked was she had you write down a thought that you had, like the first thought that you had about yourself. Unfortunately, mine was negative because I was feeling super unorganized in that moment in time. But it was good because then it allowed me to be able to think about an affirmation and then an affirmation for it. So I thought that was, it was really helpful. You took like 5 minutes and you wrote down some affirmations and then turned around and made them into affirmations. So that was a really helpful exercise. I encourage you to do that. It helped me to be able to understand more what an affirmation was and making my affirmation into a question. So talking about mindset, and that she gave us the definition, the set of beliefs that guide your thoughts every day, and that how often do we think about our thoughts? How often do you actually think about every thought that's coming into your mind? And are those thoughts, are they positive? Are they feeding positive feelings? Or are the thoughts that you're thinking about negative? Because we don't always think about our actual thoughts. And when you take the time to think about, okay, were my thoughts today positive? Well, most of them weren't. Then you want to be able to work on that for the next day. You want to feed your mind new ways to think about things. So by attending workshops like convention, Sonia Dudley didn't do it this year, but 2 years prior, she has done trainings on mindset, really just reprogramming your brain, because your brain is going to do whatever you tell it to. So if I'm telling my brain I'm an Emerald Ambassador, then that's what I'm going to start believing. If I start telling myself otherwise, it's not going to believe it. So it's all about retraining your mind, but we have to attend workshops in order to be able to grow in that. I really like that she honed in on that and said, you need to go and improve yourself. We're pro learners. As network marketers, we never stop learning. It's really no different than being a teacher, and I feel like it's very applicable for me in my life, in being a teacher, that I have to attend trainings all the time, excuse me, to make sure that I am up to date on not only my practices, but my thinking as well. Network marketing is no different. We need to be a pro at learning. Your life is a reflection of the thoughts you constantly think. That's about yourself, about your business, about what's going on in your life, and how are you going to take those thoughts to create success? How are those thoughts going to allow you to move to the next step? Little side note, what I was thinking about is that she said IPA is not just income producing. It has to be personal development. If personal development is not in your income producing activities, you're not going to be able to go up. I know a lot of the times when I feel quote unquote stuck, I don't really like that word, but stuck at a rank or at a position, it's because my mindset isn't where it needs to be, or my messages aren't where they need to be. And it's because I haven't grown. So my messages are stagnant. They're not evolving. They're not growing. They're not meeting the needs of those other people. They're more meeting my needs, because I haven't gone back to the core of what is my mindset and am I growing? So do not think that mindset and that kind of training is not IPA, because, oh my gosh, it's 100% needs to be at the forefront. I know that I've really tried to make it a practice now of praying and getting into a good mindset before I start my work. Because if I don't, I'm like kind of jumbled and all over the place, and my messages, they're not as heartfelt as they need to be. So, over my, I really love this quote: remove stress while dramatically increasing personal productivity. Anything that's an added stress in your life that can be taken away, take it out. It's not necessary, it's not needed, and it's going to increase your productivity. You don't need all the extra stress around your life, especially putting it on yourself. I know, especially as women, we put that stress on ourselves. And when we put so much stress on ourselves, we're automatically going to work less. We're not going to work as much as we need to. So part of mindset is being able to get rid of unnecessary stress. This one was really good, and I'm guilty as charged of this. Eliminating causes of self-sabotage and fear of success. We stop doing whatever it is that is the source of fear. So if we're afraid to send a cold message, what are we going to do? We're not going to send a cold message. So you have to make sure that you're being able to overcome that fear, and you realize, like, this is a fear of mine, and I am not doing this IPA because I am scared of it. And you wouldn't think fear of success is a real thing, but it is, because you think, oh my gosh, how am I going to manage all these people? That's the first thing that comes to people's mind. How am I going to manage all of these people once I get to this level? You go back to the basic. You go back to where you started, and you go back to I'm going to get my IPA done, and I'm going to take care of what I need to first, and then everything else honestly truly does fall into suit. So make sure you know what your fear is, because more than likely it's something that you try to avoid and you don't do, and you might even subconsciously be doing it. That was pretty much what she talked about in a nutshell. A lot of it was the same as what Phaedra and Noelle talked about, so just all really good stuff. I know that I'm going to be reading Secret Code of Success. I'm not the most avid reader, so I need to put that top of my list. All right, Miss Kelly, you're next.
Okay, guys. All of that was really great. And actually, I went to convention the year before, and so I heard in the gold training Helen McFadden, and then heard her again in the ruby training, and it was really good the second time too. Okay, I got to listen to Emily Gibson, Jessica and I did, and she's amazing. First of all, you should follow her on Instagram, because I do, and she's really good at it. But she gave us all the practical tips. And Emily Gibson, if you don't know, she is under Brook Hemingway, who Phaedra talked about. So they are just, they're like a machine. They're so good at this. So it was really cool to just get like, this is what I do. So she shared some images, and I actually I have pictures too, and I wrote a ton, but I have pictures. She said, don't overcomplicate, duplicate. So she said she basically got to a moment where she was completely frazzled, tons of new people, and she wasn't managing it well, and she, in 30 seconds, wrote out the 7 things that she does as soon as she enrolls someone as an ambassador. So basically, she gave us the list of 7. We were supposed to create our own list and then compare it to hers, but I'll just give you what, not what I wrote, but what she does. And I'll do this quick, but I can share the picture probably later. She, first thing, she asked them to post a quick 2-liner on Facebook that she's written for them. So she asked them if they will post it. She says, I have all the words for you. Can I send it to you? Can you just put a picture of yourself and post it? And she said, most of the time they'll say yes. And she's like, right now while we're on the phone, because she enrolls everyone on the phone. And she says, please tag me in it. And that's step number 1. Step number 2, she puts in her calendar on a written calendar, and she has 4 contacts that she puts out in her calendar. So that way she follows up with them 4 times in the first month, basically once a week. It's like when their products come, and then like a week after that, asking them questions. She starts a 3-way chat with the new person and her sponsor and introduces them. So like I have started doing this too. When I enroll somebody, I introduce them to Jessica right away, just so they have another point of contact, and then Jessica can ask them all the hard questions. And then she says she sends them her video toolbox to watch and share with their friends who she thinks might need Plexus. She didn't say specifically what those videos are, but I'm sure we could all find some good ones on what is Plexus. She says make sure that to tell them to message her when their products come in. She goes, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but that's why it's written in her calendar to check in on them. She adds them to her group and any team pages. And then lastly, she will ask them if they like to join a 7-day challenge or something else that her team is doing. So that way they can also get trained and maybe plug in other people who might want to be added to that. So those are her 7 steps. She said tons of things, but she says she always emails people the catalog and not the website. I don't know. There's a fun little tip. And then she, hi, sure, go ahead. Sorry. They didn't come in until I started talking, of course. Okay, so that was basically Emily. It was a lot of just what she does. I'll move on to Rosalind Payne. She talked about legacy, like the other girl said. And then she said, basically, here are the basics. I share the products, I share the business, and I follow up. And I just keep doing that. Share the products, share the business, follow up. And follow up, like we say, the fortune's in the follow up. So a lot of people will not do good follow up. So we want to be a team where we are following up with our potentials, with people who are interested, and with our ambassadors. She also shared some slides, and I think her big thing was you need to let people know why they want to be silver. And so often we just tell them, if you're silver, you add 3 people, you get the bonus. Look at, you get $100, like, yay. And then that's the end. Get your products paid for. But she said it's super important that you ask them these questions like, how will silver feel to you? How are you going to feel when you see the word silver ambassador next to your name? What are the benefits of silver to you? And then what do you think you'll do with your achievement bonus? Like trying to get them more excited about it. But then also on top of that, really letting them know the other benefits and how everything works. So making sure that they understand points, commissions, the override commissions, compensation plan, and then also that they're helping others by sharing the products. So just letting them know there's more to just getting 3 people, like having them understand why silver is such a big step and how it could be more. And then lastly, Celeste Gwynn was our like host, I guess. You know, she kind of introduced the diamonds that were coming up, and they did a little Q&A at the end. And Celeste Gwynn, if you don't know, she's double diamond. She was the first one to do it. So that's like an incredible thing to do. And what I got from her, which she said, is to be you. Don't be someone else. Don't try to be someone else. Be you. Teach others. And then the one little tidbit I got that I wrote down was that she loves voice messenger. And when she's actively recruiting someone that she thinks will be a business builder, she said, I give them so many compliments, not like, you know, that they're not a real compliment, but she always starts with a compliment. She said, because you can't not reply to a compliment. So she said, if you want to get people to reply to your messages, you got to give them compliments. They can't be mean after that. So I thought that was a really good tip too. Just when we're sending our cold messages. So I don't know, convention is amazing. So I learned a ton. I have so many notes, and I will, Noelle asked if I could share the slides, and I can do that in the team page or on here or both. So I'm done. Allie, your turn.
Cool. Thank you. Yay. That was really, really good. I took notes on your notes. So cool. Well, this was my 3rd convention. The first year I went, little tidbit for those of you who don't know, I pushed for Ruby my first convention, and I missed it right before convention. So I went to the Senior Gold training, and I was wishing I was in the Ruby training. And then once I heard the information in the Senior Gold training, and I was there with Jessica, and it was really cool to be there together in the training, I was like, this is where I need to be. This is the stuff I need to hear. And so that was really good. And then the next year I went back as a senior Ruby. So I got to be in that training, and that was really, really great to hear like kind of the next level. I feel like that's maybe what Kelly experienced. Like you got Senior Gold, and then you got Ruby training, and then, you know, to go Emerald and then go back and see the Jewels training. That was really, really neat to just see the different levels of leadership that they train you on, and just, I don't know, different concepts. But so the first person we had talking was Rebecca Folks, and I totally have like a girl crush on Rebecca Folks. She's amazing. She was one of our dual trainers when I went to Scottsdale for our leadership excellence training just this past March, and I'm obsessed with her. But anyway, she talked about, she did the mindset portion, but she had a great kind of spin on it, and helping us see this business as a career and stop riding the roller coaster. Because once you're at the jewel level, you've probably been in this business for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And so one thing she does every night before she goes to bed, she writes her points in her like planner on her calendar. She checks it and writes them down, and she has them written down for like years now. I think she's been doing this 5, 6 years. And so she can go back and look that, okay, I had really great points in January and February, and then in March and April, my points took a little bit of a dive. You know, diamond points, you can lose and gain like thousands of points. I mean, they have crazy amount of points. But even in our smaller businesses, I mean, you can see that there's trends throughout the year. So don't get discouraged that you had all this great growth maybe in a couple months, and then the next couple months maybe it's crickets, or maybe people are busy with other stuff, and people are falling off because they're, you know, not as consistent with their products because they're busy with other stuff in their life or whatever. Notice that there's seasons of the year when that happens, and get off the roller coaster. Don't allow those negative mindsets to creep in and say, oh, this is falling apart. My business is falling apart. I'm not doing great. I'm not recruiting. I'm not, you know, blah, 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 all that negative talk. Don't let that creep in, because there are seasons of the year that you're going to be riding high, and there's all these people that are going to be joining, and there's going to be all this momentum, and people are going to be really interested in asking you questions all the time and all that. And then there's going to be times when it's not so much, and you might have one or two people fall off that you just sponsored a few months ago and all that. So she wanted us to focus on a career mindset. You're not doing Plexus to earn, you know, a $200 incentive, or, you know, for us, a car and a trip and all of that. This is your career and your business, and work like it. We're creating a legacy for our family that we're going to pass down to our children. Like, that's bigger than like $100 bonus, you know? Yes, you're working for that, and that's your next goal, but you're working through that. That's something that you're going to kind of step over as a stepping stone onto the next thing to create this larger business for your family that you can pass on. So that was really cool. And, you know, noticing the trends and all that was really neat, that that she kind of talked about how she, you know, has gained and lost hundreds and thousands of points before. That was really nice to see, because as you guys can probably imagine, I've had like a really hard last like 6 or 8 months of my business, and just my personal life and everything has gone like haywire. And so it was nice to hear that from a diamond, and a seasoned diamond, that she goes through stuff like that too. And she wanted to really hit home the fact that sometimes people say, you know, I want to be emerald so bad. I want to be emerald. That's like a big goal for a lot of people, because it's a big level, and you push for it, and it's exciting. But once you achieve any rank, I mean, if you want to be silver, you want to be gold, you know, what, ruby, whatever, you can't get there and be like, okay, I made it. Like, yes, I'm here, and get complacent, because attrition is part of this business. People, after a matter of months, they're going to fall off. People are, if they're not passionate about it, they're going to be inconsistent. And if you just sit there, your whole team is going to dwindle away. That's what's going to happen. And she said she was speaking with her business coach, and her coach said, you know, like I said, she's been in the business for like 5 years or something now. Her business coach said over half of her diamond points come from people she's recruited in the last year and a half. So imagine that, like over half of her points are brand new people. So you've got to constantly be recruiting. You've got to keep pouring into those people. You got to keep focusing on having them grab a friend and come with them. You got to keep that growth going, because if you just sit back and say, okay, I recruited 3 people, I'm silver, great, I'm not going to like do as much work, then those people are going to probably fall by the wayside unless they're working the business too. So just to know that you have to keep reaching out and keep sponsoring, because it's very important for the sustainability of your business. And you've got to keep, you know, that grit that you first had when you first started. You've got to have perseverance to keep pushing through the hard slumps that you might have, and keep working toward your goals, and keep working to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and don't get complacent at any one of those steps. There was a couple quotes that I loved that she shared. One of them was, who you are speaks so loudly that others can't even hear what you're saying. They listen to more of how you're acting than what you're actually saying to them. So like everyone was touching on, your team is going to do what you do. They need to watch you do it first. So even the way that you're posting, the way that you're treating people, the way that you celebrate people, the way you answer questions, all of that, whether it's public or a private message, that person maybe might go on to sponsor someone else, or they might go on to stop the products and talk about Plexus to somebody else, or talk about their sponsor to somebody else. And what kind of vibe do you want to give off, and what kind of team atmosphere and what kind of culture do you want to have? Because your positive mindset and your positive communication style and the way you carry yourself is going to carry on throughout the rest of your team and create the culture that your team will have. So, and anyone you personally sponsor, they're going to have that same attitude and their same thinking and all that. So always remember that, to be positive and excited, enthusiastic, and be willing to learn from other people, whether it's sidelines or uplines or other people in the business, or even the people you sponsor. Maybe they can teach you a thing or two, you know? So always try to be at the bottom of the class, you know, always try to be learning and growing. And whoever one of you said we have to be perpetual learners and get really good at learning. I think it was Jessica. We have to really focus on that. And it's important to consistently behave in a manner that is consistent with how we want to be seen. So you need to make sure that you understand what you want to achieve and behave in that manner. Because if you have this constant, negative mindset, we talk about that a lot. But if you have that, or, oh, it's taking me so long to do this, or, oh, why aren't these people working, or my team, blah, blah, blah. I can't do this. I'm not good at that. We're never going to do those things. Like Jessica was saying earlier, we're never going to, reach those things and reach those goals and all that if we're not thinking about them in a positive way, and if we're not acting like we can do them from the get-go, we're never going to learn how to do them. So a little bit of the fake it till you make it thing. I did that in the beginning. I must say, my very 6 weeks after I joined, nobody was having a 7-day trial group. And so I decided to do it myself, and I'm sure it was like a total failure. I don't even remember if anybody joined or how many people I had in it, but I remember planning it and being so nervous. I didn't know what post I was going to put up. I had to go find things. I had to make graphics. I had to invite people, and I just ran my own 7-day trial. I was a silver ambassador, and I ran my own thing, and I didn't know what I was doing. But now I understand how they run, and I know what works and what doesn't work, and I know what people want and all that stuff. And so you have to learn by doing, and you just have to not be afraid of things. Just do it afraid and get it under your belt, because that's how you're going to learn. One thing I love, she's really, really good at recognition. Rebecca Foltz loves recognizing people on her team. Positive recognition and public recognition of people does a lot for their mindset, but it also does a lot for your whole team's mindset. So when people see others being praised, like on the team page or on their personal Facebook wall or whatever, being shouted out in chat groups, all of that, it gets really exciting for everyone involved. It gives hope to everyone involved. And some little tip that one of our other people, Erin Zimmerman, another diamond that talked to us later, she kind of cultivates a positive team culture by if someone's in a chat and says, oh, so-and-so's, sponsoring this many people this month, or has this much PV, or got a new customer, or lost this many pounds, or is off this medication, whatever. She says, hey, can you go post that on the team page? So yes, celebrate, but tell that person behind the scenes to go post that somewhere, or go post this in a chat or whatever. And so behind the scenes, she's influencing that team culture of positivity, because she's not the one shouting out people all the time. She's celebrating people and allowing their sponsors to celebrate them, or that person that's like, hey, I just weighed myself and I lost 7 pounds. Like, great. Say, oh, can you go post that on the team page? That would be so exciting and offer so much hope to so many people. And so that rubs off on people, and it keeps that vibe of positivity. So I love that behind the scenes approach to positive culture for the team. I thought that was really, really great. That was something that I kind of want to start doing as people communicate their successes to us, to be like, hey, why don't you post that? It's really exciting. What's left? We all have obstacles, and like Jessica was saying earlier, there's things that you won't do because you're afraid of them or whatever. But in the same note, there's things that block our productivity, or there's time wasters, like, scrolling Facebook or clicking on YouTube videos or whatever. We need to know what can block our productivity and stay away from it. I don't know if any of you saw, I think it was Brandy Bell who went live on the Perfectly Plexus page about her Emerald training, but Amber Miller, somebody we heard from, she has an app on her phone. Oh my goodness, I'm going to forget what it's called. Anyway, it's an app that tracks how many times you unlock your phone. And she thought it was going to be like 15, 20 times. And it was like 57 times a day or something. She was just checking her phone for all the little messages and things. And she's like, you've got to quit doing that. You've got to know what your touch points are that are going to suck away your productivity. So focus on having family time when it's family time, and then focus on having work time when it's work time. Because if you try and blend the two, it's going to get really hard to be, checking your phone while you're trying to be with your kids, or trying to do something with your kids, or, shouting at your kids when you're trying to be working for 15 minutes or whatever. Like, really draw the line and have boundaries, not in a way that you're like not paying attention to your family. Obviously, time block your day appropriately, but when it's work time, it's work time. And when it's family time, it's family time. So put your phone away when you're with your family, but when you need to work, get busy. I mean, if it's after your kids go to bed, then awesome. Like, stop clicking around and going down rabbit holes and stuff. You need to know what your weaknesses are and be aware of them so you don't fall prey to them. And don't use excuses like, oh, I don't know how to, run an online event, so you don't do them. If no one's doing an online event you want to plug people into, run your own. If no one's doing a 7-day trial group and you have people who just bought a trial from you, run your own. I mean, you will learn how to do it, and it might be a failure, but oh well, like, you'll learn how to do it and you'll be better the next time. So don't use the excuse that you don't know how to do it. And also, don't tell yourself you don't know enough people, or you don't have a big enough network, or all of that. A lot of people in this business have or at least thought they've exhausted their warm market, you know, but you can always meet new people. Believe me. This is a prime example of that. I wore my Plexus shirt out. I was shopping the other day and I was at Banana Republic and the cashier asked me what Plexus was and I gave him my 2-second little, this is what Plexus is. And I said, are you on Facebook? Can you friend me on Facebook? I'd love to send you a sample sometime. Great, done. Friended me on Facebook. I got on there, got his address, sent it to him. And that was like last week. And he just became a preferred customer of HC and Edge. So that just happened. So you guys, it's not like the end of the world if you have a small Facebook friends list. I think it's Brook Hemingway who was on Facebook with like 200 friends or something, or like 100 friends on Facebook. She was a very private person. She's like going to be a double diamond soon. She's diamond sapphire. So do not use the excuse you don't know enough people, because you can find people. People are everywhere. You can join groups. You can meet people face to face. You can do all of that. So your network is never too small. And I hope that none of you feel this way, that you don't have an engaged upline. But, we were talking about the excuse that some people say, oh, I don't have enough training, or my upline's not telling me what to do for this, or they're not plugging me into the right stuff. That is so not an excuse, you guys. All the resources are there. And Cassie Rainey will tell you this too. Me and her started like just a couple months apart and we had no idea what we were doing. There was a brand new back office right when we joined. We didn't know, like nobody really told us what to go do. And so we just kind of like were flying by the seat of our pants, and we just started running 7-day trial groups and searching diamonds on YouTube and just learning as we were going. And so you can have success even if someone's not showing you the way. You got to blaze your own trail, because you have to find that passion early on, because like we said, the seasons of the year are going to be hard. You're going to go through slow times and fast times, and you need to get that passion early on, get that drive early on, and know how to find resources and get out there early, because you're going to hit those walls sometimes that you need to work past. The diamond who spoke after Rebecca Folks was Amber Miller. She's like 25 and she's like the cutest thing. She's super like rugged, and it was awesome. She's like, I'm super country, but you know how there's like the Joanna Gaines country with like the shiplap and decor, and then there's like the Duck Dynasty country where it's like a little rough. She's like, we're the Duck Dynasty country. And so it was cracking me up. Like, she was awesome. I loved her. She was just so real. And she was one of those people that was like a frazzled mom that I can totally relate to. And she's like, I always feel like I have so much to do, right? We always have so much to do. And we tell our husbands we have so much to do. And then they say, well, what do you have to do? And you're like, I don't even know, because there's so much stuff to do, right? Like, I totally do that all the time. And she had this whole thing about being purposeful. Stop doing the busy work and do the important work. So make a plan of the things that are moving your business forward and change the things that need to be changed. So really analyze, maybe it's your IPA, and that's great, you're doing income producing activities, but is, scrolling and commenting on every single potential like Facebook post really an IPA after it's been like 25 minutes of that? No, it's not. Like, cut it to 3 minutes. Find it. Look, I love this. I made a Facebook list of everybody that's non-Plexus. I divided it up. So I have a Plexus friends list, and I have a non-Plexus friends list. So I can go over to that and for 5 minutes and just buzz down everybody's posts and comment and interact and all that. And so I got that. I got that covered. And after a certain amount of time, don't go down that anymore, because you got to do some other things. You got to start messaging people and inviting people to 7-day trials and inviting them to events and all that. So focus on what's moving your business forward and do what's important, not just what's busy. And don't get lost on training videos and stuff. I mean, it's great to be trained, but you don't need to know everything about every single product to like invite someone to be in a 7-day trial group, for example. So and just know when to cut it off. Be intentional with your actions. Sorry, I have a hair something. Let's see. Be intentional. Don't just let things happen. Don't just let people come to you if they may. Have a plan and priorities, and tell people why you think Plexus would be a good fit for them. If you notice something they post, or you thought of them, they have certain symptoms, or they know they'd be really good at the business for reasons X, Y, and Z. And voice message them if you can when you're sending out messages, and don't be super long and lengthy. Just 3-4 sentences and you're good. And by doing that, to a lot of people, you're going to create your own momentum. And you could shout out to other people like, hey, I messaged 15 people just now in the last half hour, to a group, or a group chat of us leaders, or your team, or whatever, and they're going to be like, oh my gosh, I should be doing that. And they're going to start doing that too. They're going to model what you do. So if you have a plan and priorities and start telling people about the activities that you're doing, you're going to see your own business start moving, and you're going to see your team start business moving, because they're going to start modeling what you're doing. So when you get distracted, it just steals from why you're doing this, right? So how heavy is that? So every time you get distracted from your IPAs or you get distracted from your priorities, it steals time away from your why. If it's your family, if it's your husband, if it's your kids, if it's whatever it is, you're just stealing time away from that because you're stifling your own productivity and you're stifling your own growth by getting distracted. So that was something I really loved. I was like, oh my gosh, that puts it into perspective, like big time. Like you are taking time away from the people that you love by getting distracted. So that was really key. I love that she said that. And knowing your personality type is great. That's going to be what you're naturally talented at. But you can develop other skills. I've used this excuse before. I totally have. I've always been like, I'm like a total red personality. I'm just like, I just want to get down to business, just like hurry it along, like give me bullet points. Like I got it. Like let's roll. And I've had other people around me that are like, hey, let's have like a better like bonding experience. We need to like slow down a little bit. We need to really talk to people and get to know them. I'm like, okay, I gotta like slow my roll a little bit because I can be kind of like to the point and very direct and very blunt sometimes. And so I kind of had to rein that in. But know that you can be talented at things and learn other skills. You don't have to use it as an excuse. Like, oh, I'm not like a green personality. I'm not into like the facts and the ingredients and all of that. So you ask somebody else. Like you can go learn that. You should go learn that over time, things like that. So don't use that as an excuse. Or if you're not a yellow personality and you're not into all the recognition, you can't use that as an excuse to not recognize other people. I mean, other people need that. And most people in this business are going to really appreciate that recognition because people work harder for praises than they do for raises. So they will work so much harder to be shouted out on the team page publicly or on their Facebook wall in front of everybody else more than they're going to, maybe work for a $100 bonus or something. They want to feel recognized. Oh my gosh, I'm going so long. Sorry, guys. I hope this is good. Use the Plexus IPA sheet. Noelle already talked about that. Let's see. One thing I really want to do, hopefully I get this done soon, is we can create units now on like our team page. You can create a unit, like a section that has like training videos in it. So people can click on it and there's like a section of training information in there. I thought that would be really great, but I don't know. I got to figure out what we're going to put in it, but she gave me that tip and I thought that was great. But she also Amber Miller makes a Facebook list of like her personally sponsored ambassadors. So she can kind of know what's up in their life. And then she makes a Facebook friends list of like, if you have a larger team of people who maybe like running on her team, like total people are really, really into the business. Her runners are like their own separate thing. And then her potentials, which I thought was really cool. That was something you can try to kind of keep tabs on everybody and know who to interact with and what's going on in people's lives so you can connect with them a little bit better. But I love, this kind of relates to Brook Hemingway earlier. Stop trying to get people to do the business, get the business into people. So ask them who they know that might, enjoy the Plexus products because of whatever reason. And they start to see the vision of the business because they start helping people and if they have that satisfaction of helping people, that's wonderful. And if they have the satisfaction of making a little bit extra money, that's wonderful too. But if you make it simple and duplicatable, just like that system we were talking earlier about with Brook Hemingway, it's so simple and you just have this wheel that keeps rolling and rolling and rolling. The last person that talked was Erin Zimmerman. She talked about building a legacy team. And this was more about coaching people to success. So people that I might talk to on my team, people that you might talk to on your team, how to guide them to realize what their strengths are, realize what they need to work on, and realize where their opportunity points are. But these questions and concepts I think are good for all of us to reflect on. So think about this. Over the last month or two, what's something you can celebrate? So what did you sponsor a new ambassador? Did you hit a new rank? Did you get a certain PV? Did you get 500 PV? Did you earn something in the convention contest? Like what was that? That you can celebrate, right? So think of that. What's going well, what's going good for you, and what's working, what made that work, what allowed you to achieve whatever that thing was. And then explore what opportunities you have and maybe find out some things that could have gone a little bit better. So, what makes success important to you? Do you really, really, really want to hit silver or gold or whatever? Do you really want to hit a PV mark? Are you really trying to go for something in the Leaders Retreat contest? What is that in this time for you? And then break down an action plan to decide how to get there. So if it's, the PV thing, then, okay, we got to work on preferred customers. If it's the Leaders Retreat contest, okay, well, you're going to break down I need to sponsor this many people and then help, one of those people go silver and then get this much PV or however you want to do it. If it's a certain rank, if you're sitting there and you need 20 active ambassadors to be gold, next month, and you have 16, okay, we need to find 4 people and make sure our subscriptions are on. So next month you go gold. So find out what your deficit is and make an action plan to get that rolling for next month. So, she just really suggested having, like for us, she said, contact your level 1 people who are working hard and find out what's working really well, what we can celebrate with them, like what's awesome, what's working. Let's keep doing more of that. What is an opportunity you can have? Let's try to figure out what those opportunities are and discover something that maybe we could do a little bit better, and then have an action plan to meet those goals that helps us doing what's working well and then improving what's not working and meeting those goals. So that was really, really great kind of concept to helping people create goals and meet them and have an action plan to meet them, recognizing what's working for them and what's not. She has like a whole binder of her team and like takes notes on all these people. It's like awesome. I have not done that, but I probably should. So anyway, she's recommended going back through the quick start guide in our success kit that we get. I remember going through the new one when I first got it. I don't know who all here has the new success kit because that just came out in January, but it is awesome, you guys. And that In Motion magazine, they have them in, I think my Plexus or the back office or something. Those are really, really great. Like those tools are awesome. I need to go back through that and really there's a checklist for getting new ambassadors started. Really revisiting that and seeing what things can you tweak or what can you help people with, and seeing when you get a new ambassador, looking through and seeing what you can help them with on that getting started guide or quick start guide is really good. There was a Q&A at the end of our thing, and I love that they asked, how do they work their business during the day, and Erin Zimmerman said even as a diamond, she has got some serious goals because there's certain, debts and that she has to pay off, and she's saving, for different things in their life. And she said she still wakes up before her family and then works during her nap time of her kids and then works after they go to sleep as a diamond ambassador. She has goals, so she's prioritizing her business. And so she knows she has family time during the day, like I said, and she shuts off her phone. And she said her husband even keeps her accountable. She doesn't use her phone like between 4 and 8 p.m. She like totally puts it away. And sometimes when she's on it, her husband's like, hey, Erin, like you need to, and she gets like really mad because they get in like arguments about it, but he holds her accountable. And I think that is awesome. Like family time is family time. That time is sacred. That is your why. That's what you're doing this for. So prioritize your business so you can dive all into your business during certain times and have family time the rest of the time. And finally, someone said, I struggle with the branding of myself online, like who am I, whatever. But your brand, you don't have to be like, I'm really into food or I'm really into, I don't even know, different, like a homeschooling or whatever. I have a large family or whatever that is for you. I'm into sports or farming or whatever it is. You don't have to be like super into any one thing. Just whatever your quirks are, just show them. Like stop trying to be perfect mom, perfect wife, perfect life, perfect everything. Just show them the natural you. And somebody who I love that does this really well is Emily Roberts. Like she has harnessed like the hot mess mom vibe and she's doing really well with it. She's running with it. Emily Gibson is another person that does it really well. Kelly was saying she's awesome on Instagram. The Emily's, they do that really well. There's nothing like super special about, the things that they do. They're just sharing quirky things about their life that people might find interesting. And I think that is really important. Just be who you are and live out loud and learn out loud. So if you're learning something, share it. Do a live video about it. If you just read something, share it about in a post or in a live Facebook live video or something. If you're reading a book, share it. If there's a passage in it, or if you're, learn something from a video, or if you're cooking something for the first time or whatever, just share those things because they'll be interesting to somebody. You don't need to be interesting to every single person on the planet. You just need to be interesting to like the handful of people you're trying to reach, right? It just needs to be your little niche that you're trying to reach. You don't need to be mass appeal all the time. So finally, the last 2 things, or I guess 1 or 2 things I want to leave you with was something that I really loved, that leaders need to be a spotlight. So we need to allow the other people to shine. It shouldn't have to be lighting on us all the time just because we're leaders of this team. We need to show other people that they can be great, and other people that they can feel better, and other people that they can be happy, and other people that they can achieve. That's what leaders need to be. We need to be shining the spotlight on others. But at the same time, we need to be that steady lighthouse in the storm. So people can look at us and say, we're going to weather this storm. If we're going through a hard time, or if things are going great and this is where we're headed, this is the goal. So we need to light them up and show them that they can achieve things, but we also need to be the lighthouse for them if they aren't sure where they're headed, or if there's a storm or rough patch that they're headed towards or that they're caught in right now. We need to be that lighthouse for them that is the steady spot that they can look to for guidance, for stability, for inspiration, and all of that. So I love that they kind of left us with that, and it was really good kind of note to take away about being a leader. So anyway, that is everything I have, or just saw everyone's comments on the side. I hope you enjoyed it. I will stop the recording now, but thanks for